In this video, I'm going to show you how I made a special tool for adjusting carburettor air screws. You can slide it up between the carburettors, engage it with the air screw, turn the knob, and you can make fine adjustments really easily. I've recently been working on my Honda ST1100 to replace some engine parts. You can catch this up in my previous videos. But anyway, I needed to get the carburettors adjusted, and to get to the air screw is really difficult with a conventional screwdriver. It needs to be double jointed and bent to miss some pipes and stuff. So the easiest thing to do was me to make one. So what I need is a screwdriver where I can bend the last little bit 90 degrees to get round the corner into the carburettor adjusting screws. So I thought, what if I use a piece of speedo cable that's really flexible but is designed to take torsional loads. That can bend to any shape it likes, but it just flops around, so it needs some support. So I thought, if I use some copper pipe, slide the speedo cable inside the copper pipe, I can then bend it to any shape I want. So using my tin snips, I cut off the copper pipe to a suitable length. Then I grip the pipe in the vise vertically and file the ends flat. You can see here where it's been crimped shut with the tin snips. That's better, so now I just repeat that on the other end. With both ends filed, I use the vise to straighten the pipe by gently squeezing it. Not too much though, you don't want to flatten the pipe. The copper pipe is looking quite straight now, but I just finished it off by hand and then a gentle tap with a hammer to remove the slight little few kinks I had, and it's all straight, ready to insert the speedo cable on the inside. If the copper pipe is slightly larger, I wouldn't need to be so precise, but it's not. The cable only just fits inside, so it needs to be dead straight. The old bit of speedo cable is a lovely sliding fit. I'm really pleased with that. It just pushes in nice. And here you can see the inner cable rotates just perfect inside the copper pipe. I'm now going to bend the copper pipe complete with the inner speedo cable around a piece of bar to a 90-degree bend. So I first grip the end with a pair of pliers very gently without squeezing it flat and pull it around nicely until about 90 degrees. And that looks just right. So now I've got the first part of the screwdriver made. To free it off and make it really smooth to operate, I grip the inner cable in the chuck on my drill and give it a little whir for 10 minutes, just moving it backwards and forwards. It sort of runs it in and wears off the high spots, makes it nice and smooth to turn by hand. Well, that's just perfect. It rotates really smooth. I'm really pleased with that. So now we can get on with making the bit for the end. To make the flat blade screwdriver bit for the end, I'm going to be using an old wood screw. So first I cut off the threaded part. Then I put the remains of the wood screw into the lathe and machine off the head. With the head of the screw removed, the next thing I need to do is centre drill the centre. A centre drill is used first to drill a hole in the centre. It's because it's short and stubby and doesn't wobble around. Once the hole is drilled, you can then use a conventional drill to drill the hole to the right diameter that you need, which in this case is 3mm. I carefully drill in about 2mm deep. Well, that's the back end of the blade finished, so now I need to take it out of the chuck, put it in the vise, cut it off to length, and then file the actual blade. Here we go. Things are getting a bit fiddly now, so I have to grip that very carefully in the vise not to squash it, and then file the sides, each side of the blade using a file. So first of all, file off the top to make it nice and smooth and flat. Then using the side of the file, I file each side in turn by eye until I get it in the centre and look like a screwdriver blade. I gradually file away material very gently each side, a bit at a time, until the screwdriver slot starts to materialise in the centre. And after a short while, it's basically finished. I just need to deburr it, then I can try it onto the speedo cable. It's a nice tight fit, and I'm really pleased with that. So now we can braze that in place with some silver solder. Silver solder is often referred to as hard solder. It has a flux on the outside that you have to heat up with a blowtorch. You could use ordinary soft solder if you wanted to, with a soldering iron, that would work just as well. I let the cable air dry. You mustn't dip it in water at this stage because it'll make the cable brittle, and then it pulls back nicely into the copper pipe and rotates perfectly. So that's the first end done. So now I need to make a brass knob for the other end. I have a little rummage around and find this piece of 1/2 inch diameter brass bar, and that's just perfect for the job, so I put it in my 3-jaw chuck. Then, using my side and face cutter, I face off the end, making it nice and smooth. I then skim the outside diameter, centre drill the end, and then drill the 3mm hole to about 10mm deep. With the central hole drilled, I set up my knurling tool to nail the outside diameter. This will give a nice grip to use the tool. This is a diamond nail, so it has 2 wheels in opposite directions, and they put a cross-hatch finish. I now change tools back to my side and face cutter and relieve the diameter a little bit. This is just for show really, it doesn't add any purpose at all, but it looks better, and then part it off to length. With the adjusting knob parted off the length, I then turn it around, put it back in my chuck and face off the back surface nice and smooth and do a little chamfer. There we go, that's just perfect. Let's see if it fits onto the speedo cable. Well, it slides on really nice, but I need to trim the inner cable down. It's a little bit long, so I get my side cutters and trim off the end. That looks a bit better. So now when it goes on, it should be just flush with the end. So now I'm all ready to use my blowtorch to solder on the brass knob. I first warm it up gently, then apply a little bit of flux, and we're going to do a little dab of solder. You don't want too much because it'll run down the inside and solder the whole thing solid. Just a little bit. There we go, that's all that's needed. I allow it to cool naturally in air, and after about 10 minutes it's free to use, and it works perfect. I'm really pleased with that. So this was really cheap and easy to make. A bit of old copper pipe, an old speedo cable, an old wood screw and a bit of brass. You could have used any other material, it doesn't have to be brass, it could have been a bit of steel. But the main thing is, I can now bend it to any shape I want to fit into any aperture on the bike and get around coolant pipes, cylinder head bolts, anything you want. You can even bend it completely in half and it still work. And being copper, it's ductile, so you can just bend it back. So now it's time to try it out on my Honda ST1100 carburettors. They are notoriously difficult to get to. So I'm able to wiggle it in, down past the oil pipes, past coolant pipes, past the cylinder head, into where the carburettor's nestle between the V, get the screw to engage and turn it gently, half a turn leaner, which is what I wanted. Just perfect. I made 2 of these screwdrivers, so I've got one for every eventuality, so I'll never be in a position now where I can't adjust an air screw on a multi-cylinder motorcycle. Well, thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed the video, and I'll see you all soon in the next one.